doing a running start?
Yeah. It's always good to change up the goings on. And today, Charles, you know, somebody's been gaslighting, because I hear a lot of absolute crap coming out of Jen Psaki. Who is doing the gaslighting, Charles?
I think it's much bigger than Jen. I'll circle back to Psaki, who is honestly somebody who has the self-awareness of Red Skelton, 35 bottles of whiskey to the wind. I mean,
Red Lobster?
Red Skelton, yeah, Red Lobster.
Sorry.
It's okay. But this idea that the Biden-Harris administration is popularizing, really continuing in the heels of what the Obama administration did, and to a certain extent what the Bush administration did, that once you get elected and occupy the White House and come close to controlling Congress, that you have the right to use taxpayer dollars to destroy your political opponents and your business rivals and just anyone else you might want to destroy. And that is such an absurd precedent to let stand. We cannot let that precedent stand. There could be somebody, frankly, who comes along who is worse than George W. Bush on the right, who might try to come after you and me, for example, and others, even more harshly than the Biden-Harris administration, with the assistance of Google, Facebook, and Twitter, and others, and corporate-owned media, and academia are doing now.
But wait a second, let me stop you there, because Thursday or Friday, Jen Psaki said something about she told Facebook like she's going to flag accounts to be blocked, and then also if you get blocked on one, according to her, you should be blocked on all.
Right, and then dumb joke peeing in his pants Biden on Friday on his way to Camp David said attacked Facebook.
That they're killing people.
Right, exactly. So
I don't like Facebook, but I don't know that they're directly killing people, are they?
Again, I like to go back to a pre-Facebook, pre-Google, pre-Twitter.
What's the double-edged sword, though? Because then we have no podcast. This person going to run us over, you think?
I hope not.
She's not looking at all, and she chose a green car, so I'm questioning her judgment.
This idea that
you want a photo with the pissed-off Iron Man?
That we'd have a business model where individuals willingly put a lot of incriminating information out on the internet. I say incriminating because if you openly speak your mind, if you do what liberals like to do in 1960 and 70, that is question authority and question conventional wisdom.
It's been criminalized.
Yeah, and then when the very same people who really, I would argue, gaslighted the world in 2020 and refused to let people look at the Hunter Biden laptop and its implications for Joe Biden and the corrupt Biden family, when they refused to do that, they definitely influenced the 2020 election. And it would be fair to understand, more than fair to understand right now, exactly who was behind that. How did that come together? Who gave the orders? Who knew about it? Was this an episodic decision to silence inquiry into Biden's issues, or was this part of a grander strategy? Did they have a group of people, as happened in earlier periods? They had something called Journalist, which was a whole bunch of, I think 400 or so left-leaning journalists all got together on email and coordinated the message.
What is that now? Journalist?
Yeah, journalist. It was nothing more than a group email.
Captain America's gaining weight.
That's Captain NAFTA.
That's right. 40% fatter.
Yeah. So this idea, in principle, that you would get something useful to you as an individual if you started putting personal data into any one of those platforms, and that you wouldn't have to pay for it, sounds good. until you realize that the value of the information that you're putting into Facebook and Twitter and Google and other things is immensely more valuable to the shareholders and to Silicon Valley and to the management of those companies than it will be to you. And more to the point, it proves your state of mind.
Well, but even beyond that, Charles, because it's not just a strict, valuation of this piece of information is being used for that. It has created this kind of cumulative effect where these media companies have taken over the role that used to be filled by newspapers and television broadcasters and all this thing. And it's consolidated that power in a way that is now totally controlled, and like they're ripping the rug out from under everybody by...
Right. And the theory was, let's go that way so we're not... The theory I had when I thought about the advances of technology with personal computing and all that is that it would give rise to a multiplicity of options across many, many different industries, that you wouldn't give birth to 4 or 5 mega monopolies that would, in a stroke of a pen, because they're all trying to play for the big theoretical Chinese market, enthralled to the promise, the hype that you're going to reap untold fortunes in China. They're all under the thumb of the Communist Party of China, the People's Liberation Army. And when somebody like, to pick on a great patriot, Gordon Chang, becomes somebody that the Chinese don't want to see voice his very insightful opinions anymore, presto change, they just cancel you. I'm not saying they've done that to Gordon yet, but they can kick you off social media and corporate-owned media, and they can kick you off banking, as Laura Loomer learned. You can lose your credit card. Here's this granny who should really think about wearing clothes.
What? Oh, the naked cowgirl granny?
Right.
Charles, we should tell people what we're doing here. We got a little static happening right now, but there is supposed to be a due process
I think it's right over there.
meeting. And it's funny because, oh look, it's a spider person.
Yeah, let's just stay away from that.
Well, she identifies as a Spider-Man. Z identifies as Spider-Man. But yeah, so this is supposed to be a due process rally. The thing that's interesting is it's unclear if it's seeking due process in Andrew Cuomo's defense against allegations of sexual killing old people, or
let's stay away from the naked cowboy that's right here. I don't want any right ahead of you. Straight ahead.
Oh yeah, oh, he's gonna see us.
Well, we'll just swing by.
Okay.
I don't want to smell any more of that ammonia or whatever it is he's drinking.
He missed us.
He's out there.
Oh wait, giant panda. And here's another spider person.
Don't panda to me.
Pandaing to the crowd. So Charles, what do you think about this due process thing? Pokemon is there.
Seeking due process?
Seeking pokes.
Is it up here?
Money, I think. I think this is where it's supposed to be. Pershing Square is this, right?
Pershing Square?
Isn't that this?
Pershing Square is...
maybe I got it wrong. It's in Times Square.
Pershing Square is over on Park Avenue.
No, but then I've got it wrong. It's Times Square where this thing is supposed to be happening. Looks like some Brazilian stuff over there with the hats.
I don't see any due process
rally. I mean, if we miss it, that's okay. Even just checking out what's going on in Times Square is usually pretty interesting. What was your interpretation of what that thing was supposed to be?
Well, let's get a little further away from the vomit.
Vomit?
Yeah, I smell vomit.
Oh.
Smell it?
This appears to be Mardi Gras.
Yeah, I don't see any Mardi Gras, though. It's nowhere near there.
Well, here's some news-looking crew. I'm not sure what we've got here.
Soulful art? I don't think, Jason...
Father Duffy Square. That's what I mean. I think that's where it was supposed to be, but maybe I got it wrong. Where did I see that? Well, anyway, sorry, Charles.
I do.
We'll just keep moving about our business, and I thought there was a thing.
I was thinking it'd be interesting to head over towards the UN area.
Yeah, how's Cuba?
But we can go up to maybe 147th.
Let's just real quick search due process rally Times Square.
Sure.
You can keep.
Easier than one of the early times we came in here post-pandemic, or during the pandemic, when we walked here on the avenue in the street. There were no cars around the same time of day. So it's clearly much busier now. You don't see.
So it says 3 to 5 Times Square.
But where in Times Square? Times Square is a big place.
It says Governor Cuomo's right to due process, Times Square, 42nd and 43rd on Broadway.
On Broadway. 47. Well, we're too far up, so we have to go back that way.
Let's just see. Maybe it's over there. It might be tucked in on that side.
Yeah, it could be on that
that little nook.
That mall. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, sorry. You were talking about gaslighting.
Well, we're sitting here accepting, frankly, the rancid bullshit that comes out of Shifty Schiff and this thoroughly silly Millie and others, that we should all spend a lot of time contemplating our navels and wondering what happened on January 6th, 2021, when people, including you and I, went to Washington, D.C. to watch and see whether the people who in the House and the Senate, who should have done justice over the election, who should have really held the states to account to make sure that the electors who came to Washington, D.C. were validly selected in free, fair, and full elections. We went there to see that play out, and for going there, several hundred people, I want to say more than 400 people, are currently in jail awaiting trial, which is outrageous in this country that would happen, but that's going on.
Well, you know, I had a lawyer the other day, Joseph McBride, who is defending Richard Barnett.
Right.
And if people missed that video, I hope they'll go back and watch it, because there's a legal defense fund that people can contribute to.
Right.
Big O, I think it's Big O Barnett. People have to check the thing, but he's out.
Well, that's good. But and then last week, a senior member of the Congressional Black Caucus went in and actually disrupted the Senate.
But nothing happened.
Right. And it's really unclear to me, as in anything else, when you go and you look clinically at an event involving lots of people and having lots of considerations around it, you're unlikely to arrive at an answer that one person is responsible for what actually happened. There are different people at different moments in time that made decisions. So, for example, here, I guess it is right up here. Yeah, it's definitely right ahead of you.
Oh.
When President Trump suggested that we get 10,000 troops, National Guard troops into Washington, D.C. because of reports that lots of people were streaming towards D.C. for the 6th, why did Nancy Pelosi and why did other people and the mayor of D.C., why did they turn that down?
Well, isn't it interesting also now that $2 billion have been allocated to the only police force in the nation whose only purpose is to protect members of Congress, and now they're opening satellite offices to be able to preemptively investigate threats along the lines of the FBI. Because you know, Charles, the FBI has been so effective at preventing terrorism and actually prosecuting criminals. Oh, wait a minute, no they're not. They're doing crime and causing terrorism.
Right. So they, when I say, in the poster, when we talk about gas.
Okay, Charles, we're back.
We're back? Okay.
We're back.
I think there's your demonstration.
I'll tell you, Charles,
Pretty
it's pretty modest, but it's either a cascading series of increasingly challenging problems to resolve, or someone who has the ability to detect how I resolve problems and constantly come up with new problems. Because there's been no software update to any of the software that I'm using since last time. But that
there's your due process thing right there.
new failure mode. So let's see what this is. I forgot to bring the handheld microphone.
It's pretty light. It's not exactly a burning issue here.
Well, I mean, again, your takeaway from what they intended with the due process for Cuomo is different than mine. I thought it meant arrest him and give him due process. We should ask these guys.
We will.
Do you want to ask one of them? They say he saved New York. Have a word with those guys.
They know what they're doing. But because the animosity towards the governor and the ambition to replace him are too strong.
Hi there.
And we know that.
What are you guys trying to accomplish?
We support our governor Cuomo.
Uh-huh.
Very simple question.
And why do you feel he's under attack?
No, we're here for due process. We're here to defend the Constitution.
I understand, but what's the threat to the Constitution? I just don't follow
The
that.
threat is you cannot be selective who deserves to due process and who does not.
I agree with that.
And okay, this is a duly elected governor.
Uh-huh.
And the people who elected him actually love him. And this is a man who has demonstrated leadership all his life, has served his state honorably. And because some people want to take his job, now they want to mislead us, hiding behind the media, hiding behind accusations that have not been adjudicated. Let's wait until the end.
So which accusations are these? The sexual harassment laws?
Several women's accusations.
You think it's fair for taxpayer dollars to be used to defend him?
No. It's unfair to remove him without due process.
I understand, but in the process of whether he should be removed or not, should he use his own money to defend himself or taxpayer money?
No, because whatever the law says, if the law permits him to use taxpayers, then why not? Because
it shouldn't.
Because Donald Trump for the past 4 years has cost this nation more money than anybody else. And because maybe he has the right.
Where are the facts?
What's the fact?
Where are the facts? You
No,
just said Donald Trump has cost this nation.
2015.
Where's
no,
the facts?
No, 2015.
No facts.
No.
No.
Facts. No, listen. 2015.
No. Facts.
But listen, 2015 until now,
He wasn't
Donald Trump is
president.
in court.
He wasn't a
Oh,
president.
Donald Trump is in court.
He was not president.
No, he
in
was
2000
running.
No. He was not
Donald
president in
Trump was running.
2015.
2016
He was not
he got elected.
president.
Guess what? He's impeached 2 times. Who's paying for the bill? Taxpayers.
Donald Trump.
That's a public record.
Give me facts.
No, public record.
No. All you do is say no,
No,
and
public
then you
record. 2
spew
impeachment. Who
feelings.
paid the impeachment?
Your
2
feelings
impeachment.
are not facts.
No. The 2 impeachment
What
are
about
not
the
true.
7 women
No,
who
the
say
two
he,
are true. No,
he
the
sexually
7 women.
harassed
The
them?
7 women deserve
7
due
women.
process.
Yeah.
Okay, guess what?
Let
Due
me
process,
sorry,
why we're
okay.
here.
Let me ask you another question.
Yeah.
Do you think it's reasonable for a guy who's, whether it's Donald Trump or Andrew Cuomo or anybody else, to make $5 million writing a book, or maybe putting his name on a ghostwriter's edition of a book about his great job turning this state and city into the gutter? Why should he make $5 million for a book at the same time he's drawing a salary as a governor?
No, that is your characterization. You know what this place is?
You're telling me you think the city's in good shape?
Listen, we are in a capitalistic society where people become billionaires for their creative ideas.
Not while they're public servants. Not while they're public servants.
Guess what? If that book violates the law, part of due process.
Right.
He
So
also
if
didn't keep any of the money for himself.
Everything
Oh.
is accusation. Nothing is proven. Nothing is
okay,
fact.
listen. If Donald Trump, while he was president of the United States, got paid $5 million to write a book, is that reasonable?
No, he can't write a book. Donald Trump can't write a book. He can't
Cuomo
write a
did
book.
that.
Okay,
Cuomo
let
did
me
it.
tell you know
Because
why
Cuomo knows how to
here?
write.
What?
I'm still here because I am survived coronavirus.
Okay.
I am survived coronavirus. And that situation, I don't can tell to do about any do because I thought as a coronavirus. We have, in my community, I came from Corona. We only see one elected official to defend my community.
Right.
It's only one Mr. Cuomo. Only we see.
Uh-huh.
That's why I stay here. Actually, because I am survived with coronavirus.
Okay. Can you explain then, with Andrew Cuomo's decision to put people into nursing homes with corona? Is that smart?
No. That you see, everything you're saying, these are allegations, not proven yet.
Okay.
Due process will get us the facts. Now, what we don't allow is that the Trumplicans who are hiding behind biased media, trying to assassinate his character. By the time we realize the facts, it's too late. We're not allowing that. And that is exactly what is happening. Nobody knows what happened yet. Nobody.
Let's take a big step back.
Nobody knows what happened yet.
Is New York State controlled by Democrats or Republicans?
Who?
New York State.
Today?
Yeah.
Democrats.
Is the media in New York controlled by Democrats or Republicans?
No, the media that are attacking.
Is the media in New York controlled by Democrats or Republicans? In your view, it's 99% Democrat.
Let me tell you.
99%.
Not
Let me tell you, this country
Not Democrat.
have a two-way, not only one way. Have a two-way in that country. Have a two-way.
Right.
You have a one, the other way.
right,
Let's do it the both way.
Look,
Let's
I
do
agree
due
that
process,
I
have a
agree that
two-way.
due process should be 100% fair if you're rich or poor. Right.
Yes.
Well, let me take that for a second.
Yes.
Donald Trump was punished twice in New York
Yes.
for his Trump University and Trump Foundation, right? Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton have never been punished for the biggest unprosecuted fraud in charity land. Explain that to me. Explain that due process.
No, you can never put Donald Trump. You can never ever put Donald Trump on the same level of any human being in the United States.
You talk that free because you are in the United States. I repeat to you, in that country, you have it two ways, not only way.
Right,
You are right, and maybe you are right too. No, let's do it.
No, not
the law
right.
say, because this is country law. This is country law.
No, not right. Donald Trump is by himself. Not a single soul can be equated to Donald Trump. We know who Donald Trump is all his life. Donald Trump is not new to the world. Unfortunately, there was a mistake of elevating his crimes to the highest level, and the world realized the mistake. 2 times impeachment, coup d'etat, insurrection.
Was he convicted? Was he convicted? We're talking about due process,
He's going
right?
through due process.
No. Was he convicted when he was impeached?
Through impeachment.
That is nothing.
Removal doesn't mean. Removal doesn't
It means
mean that-
conviction. It means
No,
conviction.
no,
He was
yes,
not
through
convicted.
impeachment, yes.
All right. So
Through
if you're
impeachment,
not convicted, are you innocent?
if you're not convicted.
Yes, you are. In this country, you're innocent until proven guilty.
Absolutely. That
Okay,
is true.
fine.
But Donald Trump was found guilty 2 times.
He was
impeachment.
not found guilty.
There's a difference. There's a
Right.
difference between what the Congress did and the law. The law found Donald Trump
No,
guilty.
the law did not.
No, they did.
How? Where?
They did. Because that's why they authorized the impeachment inquiry.
No, you don't
Yes,
know what you're talking
of
about.
course, of course.
You are a fool, my
No,
friend.
I'm not a
You
fool.
are innocent in this
I'm not a
country
fool. You are
until you were
representing-
proven
no,
guilty.
No, you
You are always innocent until you were proven
That's
guilty.
why
He
we're
was
here.
not
No, that's why
proven
we're
guilty.
here.
I don't know why you're
no,
here.
that's why we're here for due process.
And you mind, you already accused Mr. Cuomo. Let's respect the law. This is country law. Let's wait for due process.
No, you're the ones who said Donald Trump is guilty.
No, I don't say like that.
No,
I don't
You
say
did.
that.
No,
You mostly did.
No, that
Take my
was
word.
impeached 2 times.
That's the same as
Don't
being
take
Donald
indicted.
Trump charity cancel.
That's the
No,
same
that's
as being
guilt. Donald
indicted.
Trump is guilt. I don't know what you mean. Donald Trump charity is canceled here. Cancel.
Calm down.
Yeah.
Now, you just told us a moment ago,
Yeah.
what country is it that you said you're from?
But United States,
Well,
right here.
I live in the United States.
Yeah, you
I
said you're from-
No.
No,
They
from
said
the Bronx.
this is
We're from the
country law.
Bronx.
You
Bronx.
said your country. What country are you
Yeah,
talking about?
United States of America.
Dominican Republic.
Yes.
So you guys are naturalized U.S.
Yes,
citizens.
yes.
Yes.
And
So
we're
you
proud of
enjoy
it.
due process. If
Yeah.
you're accused of something that you didn't do,
I don't
you're
accuse anybody.
innocent
Until
until proven guilty.
I don't
Right here.
accuse anybody.
Please tell those who are going against, who are calling for Governor
But you're
Cuomo to be
arguing with this guy right here.
No, this guy
No,
represents
nonsensical way.
the opposite of what we
he's
represent. We
scared to
represent
talk.
due process.
He's scared
The
to
guy
talk
has
very-
his
very
microphones
polite,
inside.
very sweet and
He
polite.
wants to get some
Just
talking
Now
points,
you're
and we're
yelling
giving
over
him
each
talking
other. I
points.
can't hear a word you're saying.
I don't get it.
Yeah. We're here for due process, and for Governor Cuomo is as innocent
Let me ask
today
you another
as
question.
he was.
Hang on one second.
No.
Are you aware of an incident that took place in Staten Island where a bar owner was accused of letting people in against the COVID regulations?
Hey, you can pick and choose.
And then
No.
the sheriff, just let me finish what I'm saying. You're doing a lot of talking and
Yeah,
not a lot of
absolutely.
listening, and that might be part of the problem.
I got you.
Andrew Cuomo went on a press conference and said that this bar owner had attacked NYPD officers. Totally false allegation. And as the governor, he prejudiced anybody who would be in the jury in New York against this guy. So he doesn't support due process. You guys don't know what you're talking about, and you're out here wasting everybody's time.
Yeah,
Have a
thank
nice
you very
day.
much. God bless you. Thank you.
Bunch
was
of
fun.
morons over there.
That was actually fun.
I'm glad you did that, Charles. Those
Just-
guys are
they were
stupid, and
paid.
I saw somebody standing behind you with a press badge.
I'm on your side, man.
Good. All right. Thanks.
This guy completely sucks.
Thank you.
Set up by CBS.
Your name?
If I had to guess.
Huh?
Your name?
Charles Ortel.
Omar. Omar Vera. Pleasure meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
I've lost all respect for Cuomo, like, with his multiple scandals.
I lost respect for the Cuomo family in 1980.
What happened then?
We're in the middle of something.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Thanks. So Charles,
go
I
that
think
way.
you could actually have a more enlightened debate.
No, let's.
Cookie Monster and Elmo. They probably know more about the Constitution than those two guys.
No, that guy was just paid to yell and scream. It's ridiculous.
There was somebody standing there who was wearing a press badge.
What was?
And I think they were affiliated with CBS or whoever's studio we were standing next to.
ABC probably. Which is
Well,
right
they
there.
just put those guys there to agitate nonsense, and
I ju-
obviously,
I generally don't get exercise, but I mean, that guy's such a fucking idiot. Both
Yeah.
of them. Give Andrew Cuomo. How did he get his job? How good a job did he do as Attorney General? Why didn't he prosecute the Clinton Foundation when he was Attorney General? When it was committing bold fraud here in New York? It wasn't even registered in New York.
that was an exciting segment.
What?
I'm glad. It was an exciting segment. I'm glad we went
There
to
you go.
check out the due process. By the way, we should point out, you were right. I had to totally. Oh, wait a minute. This is Charlie Palmer's Steakhouse now. Has that always been there?
No, I don't even know what that is.
That was something else before. That was burger and lobster, I think. But, well, you were right, Charles. Your anticipated meaning of due process.
Yeah.
I thought it was, wow, look, now they got Weed World.
We stay here in 5 minutes. We'll see those two guys probably token up.
Right. That's their whole entire intellectual argument is formulated in the context of Weed World.
Yo, man, let's get baked. What's menstrual? That's not even spelled right.
Well, nobody said that Weed World is good at spelling.
So here we are, actually headed east rather, on 42nd Street. Kind of a nice view there.
Well, and it's turned out to be a nice day. It was originally predicted to rain today, and at the last minute we made the decision to be on the walk, which I think was beneficial because it's always good to see, you know, who's going crazy in Times Square, whether it's the naked cow grandmother,
Jesus.
the naked cowboy, the naked idiot. Just, oh, what do we have here? It's a street festival, Charles. Gyros.
You want to walk in and see how bad the food is? We can rate it?
I do, because I was walking at a street festival yesterday, and it was raining. It was raining a lot yesterday, and I just sort of stopped, and I went out, and there was this like sad, rained out street festival, and I
It's
just
amazing.
walked around.
Sometimes street food looks good.
And then you eat it,
and
and
then
then
you
you
eat it,
realize
and you-
later what a mistake that was.
You spend a fair amount of time being unsociable, let's say.
Now, I saw a news item that I wanted to share with you that I think you might find shocking.
What's that?
Well, it started out kind of shocking, and then it got even more shocking when I realized exactly what it was. I saw this headline that was saying that, well, first of all, Google, like Apple, has decided they're going to start designing their own CPUs for the phone, right? Normally, Google was relying on, I guess, Qualcomm, and now they've started designing their own things. But here's the crazy part. They're using artificial intelligence to design the chip.
Wow.
And they
Sure.
said,
Grill. Better sign. Better sign.
yeah. Well, but I mean, when you say, oh, artificial intelligence is designing chips, that sounds like the Terminator is taking over and all this. And also, it's a little difficult to wrap your brain around exactly how that would work because computers are not yet able to innovate. Wow. I don't understand how this is legal either.
Are you,
This guy's just selling weed right here. Oh, because they're not going to prosecute anymore. It's very popular.
I mean, this to me is about the most unappetizing If it's okay, Jason, on 40th, if we could make a left, get out of here.
Sure. But just to wrap up this idea real quickly, Charles, I think you still need a human to design the chip. The process that they are applying artificial intelligence to is the layout of the chip, where things are relative to one another to shrink the die, improve the electrical performance, etc. And all of that can be figured out based on a set of parameters that artificial intelligence is able to do in a couple of hours that a human chip designer normally takes months.
Amazing. Yeah, well, and expect 10 years from now to be even more advanced, right? I mean, it's, I think...
Robots making robots sounds like the end of it.
Right. Well, I don't know.
For us.
Yeah, exactly. I think I also read another piece that somehow I think it was AI software began to, on its own, start going down different paths of solving problems that people had never thought about before, and we're just absolutely flooring the scientists who are involved with it. I actually think because each human is imperfect, and by definition anything created by humans will be imperfect, I really worry about a world dominated by AI. I mean, we've got a political world dominated by dumb lack of eye.
Artificial
no
stupidity.
Intelligence.
That's actually official stupidity.
Yeah. OS or ASS.
Official unintelligence.
Artificial ASB.
Should we go in the park?
ASFB, artificial shit for brains. Now, this is Bryant Park.
Yeah.
And
Take people on a sort of a weekly New York park. Oh, look, are they setting up for the movies in the park that they usually have during the summer?
I don't know the schedule. It
That
gets
looks more like a
interrupted all the
concert.
time. This is really very lush, the park. Plants, you notice? Why don't we go that way?
Sure.
So this is very pretty, actually. This food is not too overpriced here. I mean,
I bet you those guys were lying about being naturalized citizens. I think somebody told them that if anybody asks you, tell them that. But when he referred to my country, I don't really think that's the type of thing that somebody who's spent 10 years and all the time and effort to become a naturalized citizen would necessarily say.
those people were paid by Cuomo or by people
Right.
close to Cuomo to sit there. It was a colossal flop because there's nobody there.
Right, and the one person that did show up is you, and you busted their whole thing.
We'll see. Sure, I'm on a list because of that. I'm already on a list, probably.
Oh yeah, the merry-go-round, Charles.
So what do you think dumb Joe peeing in his pants is doing in Camp David this weekend? Does Camp David have a basement?
Probably he's in it with his feet dangling, ordering ice cream.
Right.
Hey. Well, right, so we're openly having Psaki telling people that we're going to kick you off of the internet.
Again, that's just so far away from being the role of the press secretary. I mean, the idea has always been that a functioning republic, which is what this is supposed to be, not a democracy.
She should be defending freedom of the press.
Well, no, because see the way these people work it at the top level, I think, is if you're ABC, NBC, Fox, or whatever, you have to have the ability to speak to cabinet level people and people in the Senate and people in the House. So you can only push so hard.
Right.
If you start being a Sam Donaldson the way Sam Donaldson was to Nixon,
They just don't let you in anymore.
yeah, exactly. And so the mainstream corporate-owned media is never, and PBS and BBC and state-owned media is never really going to hold people to account. So the original premise, William Cullen Bryant, pretty hot right here.
Yeah, it is. It's a strange thing he's sitting in there, Charles.
But so an important premise in all this was that journalists, that sunlight is the best disinfectant, and that journalists of all stripes would hold politicians to account, because political parties couldn't be trusted to do that. Individuals don't have the time and inclination to do that. So if you go back, for example, to a time when America was actually at war, civil war, and you go and you look and see what was written in the press, in the northern press about Lincoln, I mean, it was withering. And Lincoln threw journalists in jail.
Wow.
Lincoln suspended habeas corpus. He did all kinds of pretty aggressive things. That isn't happening yet under Biden.
Well, not openly, but it sort of has. I mean, you know, it's interesting to note, Charles, that it's just a week ago or something that we were commenting with Larry Klayman and John Snyder that the most interesting aspect of the Donald Trump social media lawsuit was that it points out this concept that if Congress tells Twitter to do something and they do it, they're essentially acting as an agent of the government, and they must be held to the same standard as the government as far as defending the First Amendment. And now we have Jen Psaki straight up saying, Facebook, we're going to flag accounts that we want them to delete. So, I mean, it's just brazen.
It's completely brazen. And it's not as if the so-called experts in our expertology could say, look, you guys are stupid. Everybody knows it's much smarter. Instead of eating meat, let's go beyond meat. We'll eat, instead of drinking water, let's get that Bill Gates, I turn shit into water machine going. And, and no more Perrier. Just use that machine on your own output. Because we're so much smarter than the average bear. I mean, these expert ideas have been proven so dangerously wrong. And instead of really doing what Thomas Jefferson envisaged when he wrote the Virginia Statute on Religious Freedom and later
got it back right away. Hopefully that's just a short delay. I hope.
Try. Keep going.
Yeah, John Cohen says we're buffering, but maybe it's back. Are we back? I don't know.
No, this pizza was out, now it's back.
Bravo for pizza.
Let's keep going, Jason.
This thing's out right next to it.
Right off 40 seconds.
It still says buffering. Maybe it's back now. I can't tell.
This used to be that cigar place.
Nat Sherman,
Yeah.
tobacconist to the world. Damn it, I hope it didn't start a new one. Sometimes it does that. It should be running. Oh, it says we're back. Okay, good.
So my point is, it's not as if the experts can say, you know, we were right about the Middle East. You know, we predicted that radical Islam would ultimately pose a threat to the civilized world, and we stopped that. We saw that back in 1970. We nipped it in the bud. No, what we did as America is we looked at the Soviet Union, we looked at their incursion into Afghanistan, and we said, how can we fuck them up? How can we fuck them up? Well, let's
send stingers over there
and give aid, comfort, and training to radical Islamist elements.
So, I mean, it's cute, but if you want to follow me, you're going to get that look when I turn around.
All right. Yeah. And so our policy with regard to fighting radical Islam has been an abomination. Here we are 20 years later.
Abomination?
An abomination, a Bush nation too. I mean, 20 years later, Afghanistan is back. The Taliban, as Obama likes to refer to them, is back. And how much blood and treasure has been wasted. And really, to me, the most heart-wrenching thing is not the money which our kids and grandchildren and great-grandchildren are ultimately going to have to pay someday. It's the wounded, emotionally and physically wounded people. The dead people, they're dead. But the wounded people who are going to... And the families, exactly. And the callous way in which politicians use the loss of these people to virtue signal for themselves one way or the other, either fighting or supporting the policies that took us in. So just picking on that one foreign policy issue, it's been a disaster under both parties. Economic policy, if you go back to 1988, 1989 and follow the trajectory we were on then, before George H.W. Bush fucked things up with it, breaking his pledge on taxes and creating a set of conditions where that criminal family could come into the White House, the Clintons.
You mean a second criminal family could come in?
Right, another criminal family.
Because he was the capo de tutti capos, H.W.
Right. So,
time he got there.
so from an economic standpoint, yeah, you could say the GDP is grosser than it was before, bigger than it was before. But when you pick apart the economics of what passes for economic statistics and stop listening to the jarheads and lunkheads on television and radio, and just ask yourself the question that Reagan asked to win the 1980 election. Are you better off today than you were in 1989? And
No.
I would argue absolutely not. Absolutely not.
No.
I mean, you have no job security. Increasingly in the major cities, you have no physical security. At night, the city is owned by the criminal elements, this city, after about 9 p.m. You take your life in your hands, particularly going to parts of the city that are rich, because that's where the criminals want to steal, knock you down and steal
I've
your
just
money.
been inside for
Right.
months.
So physical security is not there. Those people who have financial assets can maybe argue that they're better off, but are the assets fairly priced today, and are we confident they're going to hold their value?
Or does the dollar even have the value
Right.
that it did?
So this whole idea that we should just watch television or listen to music or smoke weed or get drunk or whatever, and turn over the responsibility for our lives to know-it-all experts
Like Jen Psaki
and Fauci and Friday.
and Fauci.
Biden. Well, he's not a know-it-all. He's a know-nothing at all.
Does this guy keep getting moved to the left?
That's all of us, Jason.
Right.
He's not a know-it-all. He's a know-nothing at all.
Doesn't even know what time it is.
This is Pershing Square.
Yeah.
FYI.
I don't know. I was confused there before, but I'm glad we got to see that little area. Expertology is out the window, Charles.
It is.
I don't know if you were done with that thought, but I wanted to ask you about an article that was sent around a bit this morning from Gateway Pundit. Finally, maybe they're about a year or two behind, but finally realizing that Mary Fanning is a liar and a dope.
Yeah, I just skimmed. I didn't read it carefully. I think Mary Fanning can be faulted for many reasons, but one of them is for her reliance on the analysis, in quotes, air quotes, and insights, air quotes, of
Dennis
Montgomery, who you and Larry Johnson have both, for different reasons,
called out as another dope.
Right. So I suppose that's good. What I'd like to see, and we don't see, is what we need to see in media, is people really listening to the official narrative and picking it apart, and forcing officials who are approximate or lying to say, no, wait, what you said is just not true. I mean, for Joe Biden to say, for example, and I hope this doesn't get us in trouble, that it's the unvaccinated people who are killing.
That's the pandemic, he said.
Who are killing you. Unvaccinated people are killing you. Okay, so let's just think that through. You want unvaccinated people to go around with special signs that they're unvaccinated. Then you want to whip things into a frenzy and say people who are unvaccinated are killing you.
They're going to get attacked.
And then what you want to do is you want to say, as they have said, unvaccinated people should not be allowed to work.
Right.
Or to be near children. Now, when you look at the cohort that is resisting vaccination the most, it's African American men. Okay? And if you don't support Joe Biden, you ain't black, according to Joe Biden. I mean, this man is a dunderhead. He is a dangerous
You're also laying out
dunderhead.
a dangerous set of circumstances where, look, they're marching people down this road. They've started saying it. Somebody did a little video compilation of all the different people who were basically saying that it's a pandemic of the unvaccinated, and then Cheryl Atkinson had put together a list, referencing the VAERS database,
Right.
actually comparing how many people have
Well, I mean,
you know, we're sort of venturing into this dangerous area. And just one last thing I wanted to say about Gateway Pundit, because I do like Gateway Pundit, and I think they have good articles and things like that, but they are clinging to this legacy model of an advertiser-driven news source. And I just wonder if crackhead pillow man Mike Lindell is not advertising on their platform, because despite the fact that he refused to listen to my input when I was trying to help him and bring it to his attention that Dennis Montgomery and Mary Fanning were not people who he should be hanging his hat with, he just flipped out. And it's just troubling to me that Gateway Pundit says, well, these people who produce his movies and he bases a ton of his information on, they're wrong and they're not factual, but he's still good. This is really the main reason, Charles, why I have eschewed that advertiser model and rely on the viewers to sponsor their show, so that there's not one.
Have you sneakered it too?
I have eschewed the sneakers. Yeah, that was my high school English teacher had the bumper sticker, eschew obfuscation.
Right, as did some of mine, yeah.
So that you'd ask him, what does that mean?
Right.
And he says, do away with confusing words.
Right.
But anyway.
But if I can, you stop me if this is dangerous territory, but in thinking, let's not talk about this particular disease. Let's talk about another pandemic.
Yes.
And would it be fair to say, not this disease, some future pandemic, that it is a reasonable question to ask, when was the first case? Right? With certainty.
I think they always want to know that, don't
right.
they?
So you start and you say, when was the first case?
Patient zero.
Right. And I don't believe in this hypothetical that we know when the first case was. So then the next question is, from the time of the first case to the time that you initiate lockdown or similar approaches, how many people got infected with it, had adverse reactions, and survived, right? Naturally, with no medical treatment, just got sick. What's the recovery rate with no medical attention? That's a fair question.
Yeah.
And the further back you look into this, you assume that in a hypothetical case, there's a pandemic we don't know about. We're walking by Pfizer here, by the way. That let's say it might have started in 2018. So you could have had a very large number of cases and a very large number of natural recoveries with no adverse effects. So should somebody who has actually had this and recovered from it and has therefore in theory antibodies in that person, should that person be forced to take an experimental treatment?
They say yes.
Yes or no?
Well, they say yes, and I mean
they say you should be forced to take a vaccine, but they don't address whether it's a vaccine or not. They just say, of course you have to take a vaccine. We're just not going to prove to you that this is a vaccine. In fact, we can't do that in this hypothetical case we're talking about.
Right.
So, anyway, the people who claim to be following science are not.
I agree.
So here we are on 2nd Avenue and 42nd Street. This is Pfizer's world headquarters. They tried to hightail it out of the country.
Who did?
Pfizer.
What do you mean?
In one of these deals where you merge with a foreign company and to escape U.S. taxation, and they were humiliated into staying inside the U.S.
Huh. You know, I don't know. All these people who make billions and are trying to not pay taxes, not so good.
Well, yeah, that's, I don't know about that. I mean, I think you have tax rules. It's one thing, lying on your taxes, something the Clintons know how to do with regularity on their foundations and on their personal tax returns. That's something that should be grievously punished. In particular,
unless your name is Andrew Cuomo, according to those guys.
Yeah, but particularly if you're a senator from New York, a Secretary of State, a former president, former Attorney General, former governor, an aspiring president of the United States, it seems to me if you're going to, for most of your life, run multiple crooked, fake charities and pass them off as being legitimate and take all kinds of money and cook the books to hide. I went back, by the way, and there'll be information coming out written in a couple months. there's no question. The number is $64,479,870 was stolen between December 31st, 2000.
60 million.
64,479,870 to be precise, was stolen. I use the word diverted in my memo.
Don't let that $70 out of my sight. Why is it got to go like that?
Through the operation of the Clinton Foundation, and that BKD conspired to cover up that theft, which occurred right through in information that was issued on June 9th, 2006, right before the Clintons, before Hillary needed to win renomination as senator in the Democratic primary of 2006, so that she could get ready to run for president as the presumptive frontrunner, announcing as she did January 20th, 2007. They had to hide the fact that $64 million had been stolen in the run-up and aftermath of the 2004 presidential election, when Terry McAuliffe was on the board of the Clinton Foundation and chair of the Democrat Party.
What do you think about NYC COVID testing right in front of the Ford Foundation?
I'd say we keep on this side of the street, is what I'd say.
It's a Ford bus. Is it Henry Ford who started this Ford Foundation?
I don't know which Ford started it.
But it's the Ford Motor Company people, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
No, it's too bad. I like the cars. I'm not sure about the foundation.
So, why were we talking about?
Well, the Clintons stole $64 million, and
right, and then that's with regard to the 2003, 2004, and 2005 financial statements. Then in 2006, they further cooked the books, and the narrow issue that is central to cooking the books, two main issues. One, construction fraud, i.e. lying about the true cost of the foundation, and doing so over a period when the contractors had to do their own books. And you can't have the Clintons saying we paid the contractor $140 million and the contractor saying I got $60 million.
Right.
That doesn't work. So
unless the contractor's at the bottom of the river.
right, and so whether it's
Allegedly.
well, he went, actually I think he
Up in the
was
mountains.
dismembered in a state park. But the notion that it's not reasonable.
Sorry, Charles, hang on a second. That might be an important detail because also Vince Foster was found in a state park.
With an antique gun next to him. As it
Yeah,
happened
but
in
I'm
this
saying
case
the
as well.
jurisdiction of the police is, these guys are lawyers. Everything
Right.
they do is very carefully thought through. Sorry, anyway, you were saying.
So when you look at what passes for financial statements, you want to go up there or down?
Well, let's take a look. They have no flags again today, and I forget what the stupid excuse was last week, or the last time we were here. No demonstrations for Cuba.
Just if I could finish on this.
Yeah.
So in 2003 and 2004, this is the period where they were finishing the Clinton Foundation Presidential Center. 2005 is when they were finishing the Allied Clinton School of Public Service, for which I don't believe there's any authority for the Clinton Foundation to play a role in that. They never asked to be a university or degree granting program, so I don't see how they get to do that with the University of Arkansas. They were supposed to be a research center on the presidential records only, not a school to turn out crooks emulating the Clinton family. So anyway, in that period, 2003, December 31st, 4 and 5, in order to put the books together, really? Moron?
He looked like Elvis.
Yeah. The most important question from an accounting and finance standpoint, looking at those financial statements, is what did the freaking presidential complex really cost? And what was it worth when it opened? Those are two big questions. To answer those questions, typically you would have an independent advisor write a report. Not Doug Band, some idiot, or Andrew Kessel, another idiot. You hire somebody who's an expert in construction and finance to say, well, this single-purpose facility, this double-wide trailer elevated over the banks of that river, they say it cost X, but we don't believe that it's worth more than Y. I mean, you have to go through that analysis, and there needs to be some sort of a record supporting the conclusions.
Right.
For the first, quote, audit, which occurred on June 30th, 2005, it wasn't even done with U.S. accounting principles in mind, by the admission of the auditor. So nobody has ever established what that facility really cost. And then in 2005, have you ever, when you have your credit card bill, do you ever pay in advance your credit card bill? Or like any bill?
Not really. I mean, sometimes by accident, maybe.
So let's say your running rate for your accounts payable at the end of the year was $70,000, right?
Getting weird radio interference.
Yeah, I
over
think
here.
we should cross this happened before.
Yeah.
So let's say your, hypothetically speaking, your accounts payable and accrued expenses at the end of December 31st, 2004 were $70,005, just to pick a number out of the air,
Okay.
right? Do you think it's reasonable that the number that you would turn out, that you would force through the financial statements to make them balance, was that you had prepaid your payables and prepaid your accrued your expenses, your salaries and stuff like that, by $9 million at the end of
How would you even be able to do that?
Exactly, it's total rubbish. And so this number is rubbish, and the one debate, the biggest area of debate would center upon post-completion back and forth between the construction firm and the foundation, right? Because very frequently when you are finishing a construction project, they come in with an estimate, they say it's going to be $125 million, and you press them and you say, listen, we have, 5 former presidents or whatever the number is,
Give us a break.
Well, no, we have not that. We have world leaders coming, and the thing has to start on November 18th, 2004, and the contractor says, well, look, I mean, you didn't say that you were going to rush us in this fashion, and so our estimate does not assume that, and so
More money.
more money. So it's very, you want to go down that way or go down?
Whatever you want to do.
I was
But
saying-
let's get on this corner so we can lose this
Okay.
radio interference.
So it would be very natural to have outstanding disputes between the construction firm and the Clinton Foundation after the thing was completed on December 31st, 2004.
Disputes that can only be settled via gunfight?
Well, normally not by a gunfight. Normally you would say, the contractor would come in and say, look, you authorized these extra expenditures, here's the proof of it, this is what they cost.
Bang.
You got to, exactly. And so,
no fight.
so the books and records, the first attempt by the absurd firm of BKD, that wasn't
Didn't we
even,
just walk by their office?
yeah, we did. We're going to walk by it again. But to attempt to provide financial statements consistently with generally accepted accounting principles in the U.S., that first attempt was so far away from being right.
That's the Millennium
Falcon?
Hilton. Close. But this is where John Cullen just told us he was staying here when Louis Farrakhan was in there and he shook him down.
Cullen shook Farrakhan down, or Farrakhan shook?
No, Farrakhan shook the Hilton down.
Oh, I'm sure.
But that would have been funny if Cullen shook Farrakhan down. Should try that.
So just going back here, it would be you have financial statements that on the face of it are wrong. Yeah, UNICEF, there's another. They could change the name of this to UNITHEFT. It's preposterous, this. Anyway, and you haven't gotten, the FBI decides sometime around September 2004, all these problems with the Clinton Foundation. Bill Clinton has just had a heart attack, quadruple bypass surgery. We got to give the guy a pass. And W says, okay, Dad, if that's what you want. And so the Clintons say we got to pass, and they grift like fucking crazy, even more than they used to. Don't produce financial statements that make any sense June 30th, 2005. Hillary needs money for her campaign, and they think, you know what? we stole $64 million from the Clinton Foundation. That would pay for a campaign. You know, it might even eventually pay for a wedding. It might pay for this, it might pay for that. And all this is right there in the public domain. It's just there.
I think they would have saved a lot of money after his heart surgery because he probably had to stop doing cocaine.
Yeah.
Although he probably got that for free anyway.
But so to say that there's going to be tension, right? And the chief financial officer of the contracting firm, CDI, is somebody who's going to be front and center
John Glasgow.
pushing the account manager on the project and the president of CDI, which is a private company, is saying, listen, you know, we need to get our bills paid.
Right.
And then June 30th, 2005, financial statements from BKD come for the Clinton Foundation, and CDI is also building a complex right adjacent to the Clinton Foundation for the Heifer Project International. So they know how much that thing cost.
That was collecting money on the street in Chicago when I was there.
Is that right? So they know how much that thing costs. It's a spot-on comparable. Why should that thing come in at like 30 million and the Clinton Foundation at 165? So they're legitimate questions, financial questions, that Glasgow must have been wondering about. Some of the people at CDI in the senior capacity were ex-BKD accountants.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I don't think I knew that.
yeah.
That sounds a little screwy to me.
And then when you read in the Arkansas reporting, which is timid, frankly, back in 2015 when it was clear that Hillary might be president.
What is that?
UN
UNICEF Credit Union?
UN Federal Credit Union, probably, or UN fucking Credit Union.
That's interesting. It's like, hey, free money right there. Anyway, sorry, Charles.
So my point is that in any television crime show, I can't watch the news anymore, so I'm watching.
That's a television crime show.
I watch. There's actually Chicago PD is a good show. Is that what the marijuana plants?
No, this is Welcome to Your New Restaurant.
Table for one.
Charles, step in there. That's perfect.
Is that a bathroom or what is it?
I mean, I think after dark, yes. That's the restaurant.
Would you like a rat view table or a dung view table? Let's stay on this side,
television news has become the crime show.
But so I was just saying, so I watch a lot of crime shows, and there are, you know, these are reruns, Hawaii Five-0, you name it, they're interesting to watch. And in all of them and all the mystery novels I've read, people speak of motive, means, and opportunity as being the three most important things.
Is that a purple Tesla?
So, you know, I'm not saying that Bill Clinton went out there and shot John Glasgow, but people close to the Clintons, people supporting the Clintons, people hopeful that Hillary Clinton would get across the line, and then once she didn't get across the line, people insisted upon getting their money back one way or another through payoffs from the Secretary of State and USAID. Those are the type of people who would have the motive to do John Glasgow harm. And I think what we're seeing very clearly is that folks in Arkansas are terrified of the Clintons, even now, even though they dislike them. They're just terrified of the Clintons and the people behind the Clintons. And, you know,
Stevens.
Well, Stevens and Walmart folks and others. And these very same people who are talking to us about the problems of inequality and the billionaires and millionaires being too powerful are quite content to let a few people in Arkansas run riot and then descend this country and the wider world through mayhem, influencing elections, tipping them, stealing how much money, piling how many trillions of dollars of debt on us. That's okay. With Donald Trump, orange man bad.
Right.
You know?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know if I fully got this idea out, but the one thing that I thought was quite interesting about the Donald Trump social media lawsuit was that it pointed out that they're acting as government actors, and then now they're not even hiding it. Jen Psaki straight up doing a press conference saying, here's what we're going to do. I think this is part of their baby stepping process, Charles, you know? Yeah. They say this could happen, then they say it's going to happen, then they just start doing it and nobody says anything.
Yeah, it's really sad.
But they do that with everything, you know, whether it's COVID passport, you know, vaccine passport. Now France said you're going to get some like 6 months in jail if you try to go into a bar without a vaccine. And the bar gets a year in jail if they let you in.
Well, I mean, France, I love France actually. It's very pleasant and
Yeah, but I hate Macron.
Macron, yeah.
I mean, that's basically what it comes down to with kind of all these countries. There's not a country I've been to where I leave and say, wow, everybody there was an asshole. Usually, most people are pretty nice. It's the governments that are the problem.
So here we are on 2nd Avenue.
I think we get a lot of radio over here.
Should we go that way? You
Yeah.
mean, or? Okay.
Well, Charles, what else is bothering you lately?
What isn't bothering me? I mean,
Yeah.
this,
Oh, I just thought of something.
what's that?
So we spoke a lot about the problems I had getting my car fixed.
Right.
And then way back at the beginning of the pandemic, I had a major appliance failure that I just luckily, kind of got it fixed and everything taken care of right at the time before everything shut down. Now I've had another major appliance fail, and as you might imagine, you getting it replaced. Oh, Bernie on the license plate.
Yeah.
You have to wait until December.
It's like the Soviet Union. I mean, I went into a store to get a few shirts.
Is there a shirt shortage?
Well, these discount stores in Union Square rather. They actually have some nice stuff, and it's dirt cheap. And I'm not trying to impress anybody. It's a shirt.
Right.
So I was struck by the fact the last several times I've been in there, there's very little inventory in the stores. And discount stores, if you don't have inventory, it's not like people are going to, sign on to Burlington Coat Factory Prime. They're going to Burlington Coat Factory to get a shirt instantaneously. They want to see a shirt on the shelf.
Right.
And there is chatter about how a large number of retail-oriented stores, be it restaurant chains and stores, are on the path to extinction. There's another round coming here.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, and I also have been reading things about, I got to call back that hotel from Philadelphia. 3 days at that hotel, or 4 days at that hotel for Larry's event, and it was premium priced in the middle of a major city. No housekeeping, no...
Why would you need housekeeping?
Well, towels and you're paying all this money to be at the hotel.
You're lucky they didn't make you sleep in the atrium.
Right.
Give us your car. That'll be $40 an hour.
Right.
And we want cash.
You can't have it.
Well, we're going to destroy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We own it now. Thanks. Which basically they do. Like when you read all the...
Oh, I know.
When you put that thing in the garage, they're not responsible for destroying it. If you don't pay the day they want the money, they can keep it.
What's this?
Oh, wow. Let's look at that.
Is that going to have interference with it? Maybe we should go on the
It
far
might,
side of the street.
but it's worth looking at.
But if we go on the far side, that way you're further away from the interference, maybe? It's a big to-do.
It's a lot of ambulances and police cars.
Is that Mr. Clean over there? In the hat? Left?
Could be.
It's a lot like Mr. Clean. Something's up.
Yeah. Hopefully not a shooting.
Yeah, did you see there was a shooting at the Nationals baseball game last night?
They
Stopped it.
evacuated
I
the
know.
place. Oh, wait a minute. This is Cuomo's office. 633.
Is it? This is BKD's office too.
Really? His office is in the same building, that means.
I think.
That's quite curious, isn't it?
No, it's not curious at all. It's adults go to the same office building.
Well, it's a
Boneheads.
coincidence for sure. If it is. Now, what the hell is going on here?
Well, something. Let's ask. Oh, there's been a crash.
Oh, it looks like a car smashed into a fire hydrant. I guess it's just a car wreck.
But this is do we really need this many emergency vehicles dealing with?
Who knows how many people were injured if a car hit people? Maybe you need multiple ambulances. Let's go over there and take a look.
All right.
We might get
Oh,
yelled
boy.
at. Yeah, it looks like a lot of smashed up stuff. Wow. This is why you got to drive carefully if you're
Oh, they
driving
smashed
around.
the police. Did they hit the police? There's somebody being taken into a hospital.
Oh my God, it's a cop.
Yeah, I think the
Holy cow.
I think the police car hit the. That
Holy
is
cow.
not going to be fixed.
They always do that.
That's a wreck.
And the cop got injured.
Really, what happened?
I don't know. I can't open it.
Right now, I'm figuring out they just took the police officer and said that that's the vehicle. That's the vehicle that was in.
What happened? This Mercedes hit the cop car?
I don't know. I wasn't here. I can't.
Let's take a look.
What?
I would say that's what happened.
Let's not get too close to the
Yeah.
person in the
Two
car.
injured police officers, so that thing T-boned the cop car.
Well, and did this thing hit it too?
I just think the Mercedes, well, how did it get over there? I don't know.
Something
Two
went into
injured
this.
police officers.
Maybe this.
They have bulletproof doors on this type of police car. You see that?
They're not car proof.
No.
Doesn't
Definitely that car's been crashed into.
doesn't look as if the other car is going to be anything other than a junk heap.
Well, there you go, Charles.
Drama.
At least nobody was shot yet.
Yet.
Right. I beat you to the yet.
Yeti.
So sorry, where were we there?
On 2nd Avenue around 40th Street?
No, I mean, what were we talking about?
You were talking. What were you talking about? I forget. We covered so much ground. We did have the Ghislaine Maxwell
Oh, right.
drop.
But I thought we've now seen people say there's nothing really significant or new in that.
I haven't given it the justice it does deserve. It's very lengthy. It's 7. The index of the court docket is 7 pages long, and each page has a lot of entries into it. So I've only looked at a few entries, and there are filings relating to Dershowitz that do not make him look very smart.
Well, I hope I'll be proven right yet again. That guy's an idiot.
Do you want to go down this way? Or
I just want to get off of this. There's a lot of radio here on 2nd and 3rd Avenue.
Okay.
So what do you think about it makes him not look very smart?
Well, she makes allegations in the transcript. Gafree. That are contradictory, just reading the transcript. You know, she'll say, the question is, were you ever trafficked, and I'm not saying precisely the question, but were you ever trafficked to foreign presidents? And she would say, yes. And then they'd say, well, which foreign presidents? She'd say, I don't know. That kind of stuff. You know, so there wasn't, but on the other hand, she's insistent that she was trafficked to Dershowitz in her allegations. And Dershowitz's claims are that she was just doing this to sell a book.
Right.
And I don't know what's true. But to me, and I'm no Alan Dershowitz's lawyer, but I don't think I'd want to give a deposition where I recite all of her allegations and repetitively claim, as he does, and speculate that the reason she's doing this is because, I'm quite famous. I really am quite famous, And my friend, Lynn Forrester de Rothschild, name drop.
Yes.
Just doesn't make.
But that's all he does.
Yeah. Well, he has, over the course of his long career, participated in many sensational trials. Some he's won, some he hasn't.
Well, if you need to kill your wife, he's the go-to guy.
Want some lasagna, Jason?
I am fascinated by these restaurants that name themselves after lasagna. There's a lot of...
You go to the House of Lasagna you kind of limited what
Ask
you could
them
order.
if they have ravioli.
Let's see on the menu.
Well, there was another, we missed, I was going to comment on Osteria lasagna, which we walked by earlier. It could be good. How's
No,
it
they
going?
offer-
How's the lasagna here?
1885 standard.
Been here since 85?
No, he's saying it's $18.85.
Like, got 15, like 5-star reviews, so I can roll flat out since we opened. So, 1990 prices, 1980 food. You know what I mean? Like,
Have you been, how long has this restaurant been here?
you know, a long time. Yeah.
Has it been through the pandemic?
So we opened 2 months ago.
Wow.
7 weeks ago.
All right, well,
You know,
hey,
we lost 3 hotels, but we're crawling along there. Yeah.
but if people are on 39th and Lex, they could come over to the House of Lasagna.
I tell you, it's like on a time warp here.
Good luck to you.
Yeah,
Take care.
thanks a lot.
Yeah.
I've never eaten there. Could be good.
If you could short restaurants, it'd be the Big Short or the Little Short.
But it was interesting what he said, that the restaurants went out and probably
Hotels.
lot of-
The hotels.
that's what I mean. The hotels went out, and a lot of people come to the restaurant from the hotel. He looked kind of,
Bemused.
yeah, it's the start of a Sunday night. It should be one of the bigger nights for a restaurant like that, but he sort of looked frustrated.
I don't know. I mean, Sunday night coming to a restaurant here.
Well, if you live over here, or
I
if
used
you're
to
in a
live.
hotel,
Yeah. I don't know the rhythm. Yeah.
I
This
used
is.
to like to go to restaurants on a Sunday night.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But if you have children, you're typically not doing that on a Sunday night. You're trying to make sure they get.
What if your dishwasher's broken?
Your dishwasher's broken? You start a riot and demand equal access to dishwashers.
No, there's no chips, no dishwashers.
No chips.
I'm going to find out tomorrow if they. You see, the way it works is the less expensive and the more you want a dishwasher, the longer you have to wait to get it.
So it is the Soviet Union.
Yeah. If you want to get the most expensive dishwasher possible, they might have one. If you're lucky.
If you pay off the sales.
Pay it now and you'll get it. And, you can't just get a dishwasher.
Pretty soon they're going to have like waiting lists.
Well, the
10-year
unvaccinated have no right to access clean dishes, Charles.
A 10-year waiting list for a dishwasher.
I think we just got stuck here.
Yeah.
Well, we could discuss this Park Avenue tunnel, which has come up before.
Is it? It's not open again.
Right, it's closed. It looks like they repaved it, actually.
Probably at 10 times what it really cost.
I'm sure it needed that. I haven't been in there in a long, long time.
You see these 2 girls here? They're nearly going to get killed. They're saying, well, don't go that way. Let's just go back the other way without looking to see whether the cars in the other direction are going to flatten them.
I missed it. Now, did you tell us that you have flown on a helicopter that would have landed atop the Pan Am building?
Absolutely. Yeah. A long time ago. Yeah.
I don't know if people remember back in the day, but actually even the movie Superman 1 had a scene that mimicked that incident where Lois Lane was stuck on a helicopter on top of that building and then Superman saves her.
Yeah. The notion of landing a helicopter on top of a tall.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, exactly, with the cross currents of winds and stuff. I mean, I would think it makes a lot more sense to land a helicopter in a park.
Well,
by a river.
Yeah, that's what they do now. They're
Right.
on the west side.
And the east side too.
Right, exactly. Oh, wait a minute. Somebody wanted us to look at something on the east side.
That would be me.
What was it that was a helicopter pad?
Right, at 34th Street.
Why did we not do that?
Because you insisted on going uptown when I wanted to go downtown.
Oh,
That's okay.
sorry, I missed
Fortunately, it'll still be there. Maybe.
that. Kinder Care Learning Centers.
Building confident New Yorkers since 1969.
Oh, yeah, Charles.
Right.
I wanted to tell you about some interesting synergy that's happening between David Hawkins and Manny Grossman without them even actually knowing it.
Oh, yeah?
Well, David Hawkins has been talking a lot about the mass graves,
Right, in Canada.
these unmarked graves that are in Canada, you know, all the indigenous schools. And then that has led him to discussing SOS villages. This looks like that same kind of Mercedes that was wrecked. SOS Children's Villages is a Austrian NGO that was started by this guy whose name I can't recall in 1947. But then we've also now just found out from Manny Grossman interviewing Bob, who was a victim of one of the Son of Sam cult members, that there was an orphanage in Yonkers called Children's Village. And it just strikes me that that sort of fits into the pattern that you have described, where they have a lot of different charity organizations with very similar names, and they use that to kind of obscure what's going on with the money. And I don't know if there's any connection between those things, but the fact that it fit the pattern brought it to my attention, something I kind of want to look at more closely.
Yeah, that whole area, the system of penalties to go against
let's go down now.
Charities that invent programs for which they're not authorized, and then run those programs out of multiple offices, and then do that so that they can get multiple bank accounts. When you get caught for those sorts of offenses, you should go to jail for a very long time. And the people who make donations to these fake charities and fake fundraising events, they too should be it shouldn't just be a traffic ticket. It should be major league penalties.
You reminded me of something else.
What's that?
So, well, no, I shouldn't discuss this. I'll tell you offline.
All right.
Christopher Ruddy, who has already admitted...
Christopher Allruddy
to giving over $1 million to the Clinton Foundation, has now admitted it again.
Well, yeah, and you know who else gave a lot of money to the Clinton Foundation is Stephen I Can't Fly Bing.
Right.
And he did it.
Then he gave his will to the...
Well,
what did he do with the will?
What happened was he gave, in 2006, he gave about $10 million in appreciated stock to the Clinton Foundation, which is the Bill Gates trick. You have stock that you bought a long time ago, you're rich and you don't care, and your tax planning works, so you give this appreciated stock away, you get a large tax deduction for doing it.
What does appreciated mean? That it just went up?
Went up in value, yeah. And so you give this stock, let's say you have stock, let's say the 10 million is stock.
I get it for $1, it goes up to $1 million. I give it to the foundation, it counts as $1 million?
You get $1 million deduction against your income, and then the question is, how big is your income? And if your income is, I think, 3 million or more, roughly, you can write off the whole deduction. In the old days, I don't know what the current rules are, but and it depends state by state.
But it's a fancy way to steal money if you know good accountants and lawyers.
Not steal, but you look as if you're charitable, but in reality, from an economic standpoint, it's not as smart as selling the stuff for 10 million, because you would sell it for 10 million and you get a capital gain maybe, and let's say you get back 7.5 million. Here, you donate it to a charity, you might get off your taxes, depending what rate you're in, you might get back $4 or $5 million for stock that you originally bought for $1,000. I mean, so you're still better off.
But if you've got it worked out such that the charity you're giving it to is somehow advancing some other business that you have by maybe convincing everybody they need a vaccine or something like that.
Well, going back to Bing, one thing that you're not supposed to do without explaining it is you're not supposed to be a major donor to a charity, and Bing was in 2005-06, Clinton Foundation. At the same time, his Shangri-La Industries was paying Bill Clinton, and by extension Hillary, because they were married, and she had an interest in the income just by being married to him.
Shangri-La Industries?
Bing, it's a hotel chain, I think, or entertainment chain or something. They were, putting Bill on the board and paying him millions of dollars a year. You're supposed to disclose that. What kind of benefit was Bing getting out of Clinton's Rolodex? If it is hotels, maybe Bill was helping him get projects across the line in countries that are difficult to navigate unless you have political connections. I mean, you could make up all sorts of things that benefits he may have gotten. But the question is, were the benefits, the private benefits derived through the operation of the Clinton Foundation in 2006, were they material? And I think they are substantial, more than it's substantial. I certainly think they were. Do you want to go, keep going this way or go down?
Whatever you want to do.
Well, where's the interference? Let's go down this way and then maybe across 30th or something.
Yeah.
Or across 33rd Street.
Do you think that him being named Bing and Microsoft's search engine being named Bing is just a coincidence?
It's a coincidence.
I don't know, Charles.
But the issue...
Oh, what's this?
So again,
high-risk obstetrics.
This is for people who want to have their baby on the edge. High risk. It's like, okay, we're going to deliver this kid.
No,
4D ultrasound. Is that where they like spray water in your face
I don't
while
know.
you're getting the ultrasound?
You know, I am familiar with people. I am the product of a difficult pregnancy. I was a very difficult pregnancy. So there are specialists who take care of women who may come very perilously close to losing their children. And sadly,
Well, I don't mean to be making fun of that, but
right, that's why I'm bringing it up. So, and it's much more common than you think. I mean, we're in this modern day and age. If you talk to people who are willing to talk about it, most people who bear children, women who bear children, have a miscarriage, maybe more than one, in the course of giving birth to 2 children. So it's not, it is scarring.
I know.
Clarissa had one.
So did Tatiana.
So here we are walking by. On our right we have Oxford University Press, and we have what used to be the Altmans. This whole building used to be an old-fashioned, high-end department store. It actually was a real treat to go in there. They had all sorts of fun departments. I started my map collection in there as a young guy. You could buy, they had an antique map department.
Wow.
And antique books.
Oh, look, Charles, the larger version of that Trump dog toy. I'll tell you, Larry has a giant one
Really?
in his office, like it sits in a chair.
Is he from Texas?
No.
Because everything's bigger in Texas.
Philly.
Is he? That's right. He did bring that up a few times.
Yeah. And also on his radio show, it says he's the son of Philadelphia bushers, so he knows how to slice and dice.
Regards to Larry, he's a good egg.
Yeah, he's doing well.
So do you think we can risk going across 33rd Street, or?
This is 34th.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, sure. I'm on there all the time. That's crazy. You don't often see a police car crashed into.
Mercedes.
Right.
I don't know how that happened. I mean, maybe the police car just decided they were going to go out in traffic without looking. But
they do drive pretty recklessly, the cops, but so do Mercedes drivers.
But
it's funny, when you get into an accident with the cops, do you ask them if you should call the cops? Ask them for their insurance?
Ask them for their insurance, exactly. I think it's more likely that the Mercedes crashed into the cop car because both of the policemen in the man and woman one was taken out on a gurney and the other was also, I think, taken out in a wheelchair.
It looked like it got T-boned on the side, and the front of the Mercedes was super smashed. It looks like a lot more stuff is out of business over here than the last time we were here.
But we need to give due process to Andrew Cuomo.
Right. I mean,
Trump destroyed New York, not Andrew.
Is that what they were saying?
Basically. So we either can keep going.
That looked totally set up to me. I hope I got that guy on camera who looked like a CBS stooge.
Should we keep going, or
whatever you want?
It's up to you, Jason.
You're about to get hit by that. Let's see what the comments are saying, if anybody has any questions. So, Time Raider has heard that 1 in 4 pregnancies end prematurely.
In what?
End prematurely. But that doesn't necessarily mean maybe the baby just pops out a little early. I'm feeling the weird handle vibration, like it's about to freak
it's
out.
right around here. That's why I bring it up.
Oh yeah, we should probably go right.
But
yeah, we were making fun of that furniture store last time.
But it's I think at this stage we just need to go south. Because as you head west, you go more into the
interference.
Yeah.
Now, Charles, the other thing that Jen Psaki said was that 95% of the COVID cases are unvaccinated.
She's an idiot. I mean,
Well,
that's not
that's
the
a statistic, right? I mean, nothing is 99.5%.
No. What the other reports I've read are that I keep seeing something that 47% of the recent COVID
Vaccinated.
are among vaccinated people, which would be the polar opposite of what I'll circle back to you. Now we know why she has to circle back. She's always
Making stuff up.
she's stoned. Are you sure you want to go this way?
Pretty loud. Let's go
Yeah.
to the next street. Like a jackhammer at the Korean barbecue or something. It smells kind of good though.
Let me get a.
Oh, they stopped it. Oh, it must be this rotisserie place that I'm smelling.
Oh boy.
So maybe Jen Psaki should be kicked off of all social media platforms for spreading medical misinformation.
I am a very simple-minded person, and when I establish that somebody is completely stupid and a liar, I don't waste any time talking to said person. And why do I care what Jen Psaki has to say?
You mean you're not going to go onto her YouTube channel and spend hours writing comments about how you disagree with her and
Oh, I
dislike
love
her,
your freckles.
but providing no evidence whatsoever?
I love your freckles. You're so smart. I mean, come on.
She's just rude.
She's a moron.
Right. Well, she's rude in addition to being a moron.
Yeah. Actually, she's not smart enough to be a moron.
Here, Charles.
Yeah. How much do you think that costs?
Probably a lot.
6,000. Yeah.
It could easily be more. I mean, that looks
What
like
is it? It's like an umbrella
incredibly
stand?
dumb. Yeah, I don't even know. Is that the price tag underneath there? This is like Planet of the Apes collection. I don't know what that is. This thing, Photographica or Photographiska, whatever. It just went away. But that's a weird place with lots of Masonic symbols all over it. And I'm sad because this Arlo Hotel used to have a restaurant inside it that had an incredible Detroit-style deep dish pizza that was super good.
Well, I think as we walk through here, I'm struck by the fact that this looks like a city that's like Constantinople before 1453. I mean, it's garbage everywhere, stores out of business everywhere, and the people who locked us down are flirting now aggressively with the new lockdown.
Right.
And at the same time saying things are great. 4 more years of this. It's just, call me stupid, but when you see garbage strewn on the street and stores out and not that much
Smells like
food
urine.
traffic and it smells like whatever, and it's daylight, so it's only going to get worse tonight. When the sun falls, the rats come out, human and otherwise, human and animal rats. Can I get you a Dunkin' donut?
It's just Dunkin'.
It says Dunkin' Donuts there.
I mean, again, it's the most striking corporate no-no that I'm aware of in a long time, where they've changed the brand and they haven't changed it consistently on every store.
We should go in there and lecture them.
I just don't even care.
Yeah.
That's the smartest idea.
What?
Well, just do all your texting from the middle of the street.
We can get hit by both directions.
Yeah.
People going southbound, people making the turn, people whatever. But I'm sure it's a very important text.
I'm just hoping if there's an event, we'll catch it.
Was that Willoughby's right there?
It was. Not the original, but that was where it moved to, and then now it's out of business.
You realize that as an adult, I have only bought, I believe, one camera, and it was at Willoughby's.
Well, but your phone.
Right. But I'm talking about single-purpose camera with a telephoto lens.
It's almost
and
pointless to get. I mean, unless you get a real big professional one.
wide-angle lens. There's your car, Jason.
What?
Detail, purple, orange.
Oh no, this is a Honda.
I think you're supposed to, in New York State, you're supposed to have a license plate on the front as well as the back.
Did that guy not?
He did not.
Yeah, you get a ticket for that.
If we were in the business of enforcing the law, which we're not.
A lot of advertising of Suicide Squad.
Is that Osama?
Yeah. Osami.
Osamil.
Osami.
Osamil. IL.
Oh yeah.
I'd be saying
hard
that,
to see the sign. It doesn't look like it's open.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing like outdoor cafes and piles of garbage.
They go together like
Hand in hand.
peanut butter and jelly.
Should you have white or red wine with that garbage pile?
Yeah. Well, you should have the garbage sommelier who will help you pair. Doesn't that look like an unusually small motorcycle?
Yeah, it's a kid bike, and it has. Go ahead.
But I mean, it seems kind of dangerous for a kid.
Well, you shouldn't ride a bike like this in the city. It's a dirt bike, but the nachos are very useful.
It's a hybrid gas nacho engine. Oh wow! Look at this San Francisco streetcar here.
Is that what you were looking at?
Ayaz trolley. Azaz trolley. That's a little dyslexic moment there. Oh look,
That's nice.
they've got an air conditioner
They got what?
in there. They're air conditioning the open air thing. These guys have done a nice job of turning their restaurant into a outdoor. But I mean, look at this.
That's because this is out of business.
Well, that's what I mean. A lot of people still wearing the mask, despite due process Cuomo taking down all COVID restrictions.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just in like super contradictory mode now.
Which is why nobody listens to him anymore. I mean, honestly, the approval rating of politicians and the mainstream media is
Historic low?
might be 10%, maybe, which is low. I mean, I think, I don't know.
Smoke hut.
I think the plague has probably got a higher approval rating than 10%. We did see that Zero Hedge story about monkeypox in Texas.
Yes.
That does not look good.
Well, I mean, there's no way that's gain of function, right? Monkeys have been around forever. Pox have been around forever. And now suddenly somebody has it? How'd that happen?
It doesn't look, it looks incredibly painful.
What have they learned about the assassination of the Haiti guy? DEA and the CIA director was over in Colombia and...
Was he really? She?
I heard that.
Who is it again? CIA director? And here's some more cops. This is, I think,
Wow.
there's a cop station here.
Well, that's on 20th, I think.
No, there's one here too.
31st?
32nd. Yeah.
Yeah, might be right. Looks like they're going somewhere.
Let's go around these
A little
guys.
flood going on.
Speaking of Haiti,
Yeah, so I mean, it doesn't seem like Cuba, Haiti, that stuff all sort of blew over. Haven't heard too much about it.
yep, for now. For now, I think we're coasting towards summer vacation.
Supercharged, Charles.
Long overdue summer vacation. At this moment in time, normally the news cycle slows down. But they're trying to agitate for the Delta variant on COVID.
I thought they're up to Lambda.
Are they up to
or
Lambda?
Epsilon.
But they're trying to advocate for another lockdown just in time for school to start.
This is a
Or
serious
not
question.
start.
If there's a pandemic and you say, okay, it's so bad we need this emergency untested vaccine, then there's a variant.
Yeah.
shouldn't you say, well, now wait a minute, we need to conduct a very focused battery of tests to determine if there's any relationship between the vaccine and the variant? Doesn't that seem
Again, this is a problem. I'm very squeamish, and so I don't spend a lot of time thinking about medical issues. But
well, that's just logic.
no, I know. But what I'm saying is that I would have hoped in this country where so much is spent on medicine, research and medicine, that people who are competent, not Jen Psaki, not Joe Biden, people who are that way or 10-6.
This is fine.
The people who actually have the required training to evaluate some of these scientific issues with precision, that they would be doing this work, and it shouldn't be, let's crowdsource the diagnosis. I mean,
They're not even doing that. They're just making it up and then shouting it.
right, and canceling you if you disagree.
Right.
So
There's something going on.
people are not shy,
Yeah.
for sure. I'm not complaining.
So there was just a taxi drove by with an ad for this Matt Damon movie, Stillwater, where I saw him in an interview at the Cannes Film Festival talking about it, how the character that he plays is a Trump supporter, but he didn't vote for, they asked him if the character voted for Trump or something, and he says no, but that was because of a prior felony, otherwise he would have. And everybody laughed. So, he's an international ambassador making fun of people who are rotting in jail.
Well, that's the hip thing to do. You're just not cool unless you're anti-Trump.
Well, and supporting the people who want to shut down dissent on social media and completely silence you. I just don't understand how people aren't outraged by that statement, by that suggestion. Like, she should be removed from her position, and they should immediately say, we're not doing that. That was a stupid thing for her to say.
Well, they are. It's interesting how they seem to be backtracking. To say that Biden, what passes for the Biden-Harris administration, they are now saying that officially that the communism failed in Cuba and socialism doesn't work. They suspended the talks, the Chinese-American economic talks. Trump did that periodically. They're advising people, American businesses, to leave Hong Kong or to be careful in Hong Kong. So
Let's cross this way.
and they're also saying that the lab leak is a credible thing.
Well,
to
but
think
that's
of.
old already that they're saying that.
Well, I know, but it's one thing to say, if you bring up this topic, you're going to be canceled, and we're going to cancel you, and then suddenly say, I actually always thought the lab leak was.
Well, that's essentially exactly what they're doing.
or
But they don't bring back my canceled
my followers on Twitter who were.
YouTube channel. Did we look at Canna Boys before?
Nope. What is it?
Well, it's got to be a weed place. Glamour.
For the
line.
glamour line? Let's cross the street and look at it. Good
Yeah,
timing.
they got
Because over to your right, you see what I'm looking at?
hookahs and whatnot
See
there.
what I'm looking at to your right?
Yeah, this guy's gonna back up and kill me.
No, further down.
Didn't even notice that.
There's a guy who set up a nice studio on the sidewalk for himself. You'll see it in a second.
Canna Boys Inc. Glamour line. Yeah, it's hookahs and bongs.
And Pepsi.
Oh, well, perfect. And that's probably you put your weed in that.
What?
There's no soda in there. It's a fake can for storing
Oh,
weed.
for cannabis?
Yeah, but
It's a
that doesn't
cannabis
even make
this
sense
is what I
anymore
would-
because
sorry. That's your man. That's the.
oh yeah, he's been in the newspaper.
Has he really?
Yeah, the cops. He was trying to do suicide by cop in the article that I saw.
Huh. He's
And-
been on the street for at least 10 years.
Yeah, he's known. They mentioned his name in the article. I forget. He's a Japanese guy.
Right.
Mr. something. I forget.
You see him like that with no shirt in the winter, in bitter cold.
He probably knows.
The naked cowboy.
Yeah.
They drink the same.
Yeah, they meet up in the morning and have a few shots of antifreeze, and then they're good for the day.
I think that could be a 24-hour project.
I think you're right.
So,
Well, we're getting close to the end here, Charles.
of the podcast. Now,
Right.
here we are. If you're thinking of having a honeymoon in New York, by all means, come to the DoubleTree by Hilton. Wonderful surroundings, fantastic restaurants. The garbage is really quite
fresh.
magnificent and fresh.
Yeah.
totally unsafe at night.
Oh yeah, wait, here, look. Escape virtuality. So this is a VR escape room. I think it used to just be a virtual reality thing, and they realized nobody wants to put a rented thing on their face in the middle of a pandemic, so they made it an escape room.
And then you go across the street to the non-existent gel bar.
Look at this place, Charles. Pinball, pool, this is
Loud.
Look at that. Creature from the Black Lagoon in 3D. Awesome. I love that movie. Charles, we got a little mini pinball arcade there.
You have one.
That's a throwback.
So now you can. This lady, does she understand what she looks like here? I mean, this is like. I think they'll go out and wear.
People decide.
I think they'll go out and wear a skin-colored, tight leotard and walk around Manhattan.
I didn't really mind that.
I just think. I mean, I'm no fashion maven.
Coming from yoga.
Right.
We're going to yoga. Could be Pilates.
Pilates.
I don't really.
They don't do that in New York.
Yeah, impolite.
Here we go. Bangladeshi food.
It's just like those UN packets of powder, and you mix it with water.
Don't make me laugh
funny.
like that's not funny. That's right.
It's a lot of stuff out of business.
They could do, one of those. They could pair. They haven't done that yet. We haven't done it either. But you could do a modified Jenny Craig ad.
Yeah.
It's like, we have a new health treatment. Just have 10 meals at this restaurant and for X, and you could lose 30 pounds in 1 month. The hard way.
Well, Charles, yesterday was the 25th anniversary of the destruction of TWA Flight 800.
And last night on Fox, they were playing a movie on that.
Oh, were they?
Yeah.
What was the movie?
It was like some of the strange death of TWA 5. It was on. I nearly
Well,
called
but what
you.
did they decide caused it?
I didn't watch it.
Yeah, because I think they
I
lied.
was watching Hawaii 5-0 or something like that.
Much more important.
Actually, I watched the NBA Finals a little bit.
Even more important. I had a great show with Jack Cashel on Thursday about the TWA Flight 800. Jack has written a book about the crash.
He's a good guy.
He is. The cover-up. The crash, the cover-up, and the conspiracy. And, but, he's saying that it was a Navy vessel that shot it down. Subsequent to the interview with Jack, I've watched a lot of press conferences and stuff that people did. There's a whole community investigating this for many, many years. And it seems like a lot of people think it was a Stinger missile fired.
Right.
Which kind of makes sense to me because we know they sent a bunch of Stinger missiles to Afghanistan, and if they kept a few of those in reserve and then sent them around, I don't know how big a Stinger missile is, but I think you could probably stand in like a little 12-foot motorboat and fire it.
Right. I don't doubt it.
And then, there's also Jimmy and Joanne Moriarty told us that there was a question about Ambassador Stevens and some concern about shoulder-mounted Stinger missiles,
Right.
man pads they called them,
Right.
about those going to, through Libya somehow.
Yep.
So I just wonder if there's not a through line with these Stinger missiles.
Yeah. And this is sad here. Remember we walked by this when it was still up? I forget what it was. It was a decent.
T-Mobile cell phone store.
Was it really?
Oh
Look
no,
at
this one was a deli.
Look at this. You have to spend a fair amount of time to make it that ugly, right? That's
Oh, they
hours and
bombed
hours.
This whole entire. It was over days they did that.
Well, I suspect they do it at night.
What do you think of
Idiot.
that Galanda wagon racing around needing some
Idiot.
service to the engine?
Idiot.
Yeah, this is a wreck here, Charles.
But it's clear that Cuomo and de Blasio have brought the city back, right? This is clear.
Yes.
Here you are. You're across the street from the Fashion Institute, right? FIT, Fashion Institute of Technology, where a large number of kids go to college, and typically they don't want to have the college food. They'll come out. They want to have food right next to it, and look what you get to eat. Where you get to eat.
There's no food there even anymore because it's totally out of business.
Really, it's if I had a son or daughter who was at FIT and we went for a tour, and I'd say no way.
If you came here from somewhere like, Nebraska and saw this, you'd say you can't go to college here.
Actually, I take it a step further. You say, look, I hear the Baghdad Institute of Fashion
Right.
Technology is pretty good. Let's
Might be
go there.
safer.
Well, let's go to Kabul. We can. There's a Kabul School of Designing Chador. Those black outfits. We'll do a pride version of Chador, and you'll get executed right away over there. But the masseuse place is open, and you can get some wings, I suppose.
Grubs. They're going to be serving grubs in there pretty soon when there's a beef shortage. Well, Charles, I think we're at the end of the line here. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I want to remind people that they can sponsor Crowdsource the Truth and my ability to wash dishes by going to subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. Lots of things going to be happening in the lawsuits this week. We just docketed a response to the motion to intervene that includes some evidence that's never been in the public domain before. We'll be talking about that a bit more, but people who are interested in ethical field guides to hacking and researching lawsuits are going to find a lot of information there. So anyway, anything you want to say before we go, Charles?
Just enjoy the week, people. Be safe, and thanks for watching.
Absolutely. Have a great day.